There are rooms in the Vatican so heavily guarded. Only a handful of eyes have ever seen what is inside. Locked away for centuries, beneath layers of marble and secrecy, lie thousands of manuscripts, some written by African hands centuries ago, documenting kingdoms, maps, and wisdom long forgotten. This thing wey dem hide no just shock historian bro. E dey shake table wey we take balance history, Africa gist, church, and the whole world. But before we reveal those shocking Vatican Secret Archive Africa discoveries, make we press rewind small. Today, debates about heritage, stolen artifacts, and hidden history are louder than ever. From Benin bronze, waka go Egypt's gold, the whole world dey ask, who controls our past? This story matters because what is in those archives could change how we see Africa's place in global history forever. And by the end of this video, you go don sabi names, events, plus the powerful truths wey dem bury for Rome Forbidden Library. Most of us learned that Africa's written history was scattered, incomplete, or kept orally. European colonial powers often claimed that Africa had no history before they arrived, just tribes, no empires, no advanced records. The Vatican, dem tell us say na just church documents dem dey keep safe, things like papal letters, theological debates, and church politics, but dem no get anything wey concern African empire. But bro, na half-truths dem serve us, e no reach ground, e still dey cook. Imagine the 15th and 16th centuries, powerful African kingdoms like Congo, Mali, and Ethiopia engaging directly with Europe. Envoys dey travel, letters dey exchange, diplomats dey waka with maps, treaties, and even sacred books, some of which ended up in the hands of Catholic missionaries, later shipped to Rome. Real fact, no dey lie. The Vatican's Archivum Secretum, literally private archive, not secrets. In the Hollywood sense, it long past 53-mile shelf. It contains over 35,000 volumes. Many catalog entries remain restricted. The Pope must give you permission before you go touch am. Among these, scholars have identified Ge'ez manuscripts from Ethiopia, Arabic and Coptic texts from North Africa, and even Hausa writings from West Africa, detailing trade routes and royal lineage. But here's where it gets chilling. Some of those documents contradict colonial narratives. They show advanced African diplomatic protocols. They show African-Christian interaction before colonial conquest. They even include maps that positioned African kingdoms as strategic powers long before Europe carved up the continent. Some manuscripts described agreements between African kings and the Pope, recognition, blessing, even trade privileges. If made public, they would force a rewrite of centuries of history that painted Africa as isolated, primitive, or unconnected to global diplomacy. Why does this matter today? If generations are taught that African civilization were passive, they inherit a wounded sense of worth. But if the truth that Africa was active in global politics, diplomacy, faith, and trade emerges, it changes everything. Cultural pride go come back, narrative go backflip, school books go dey edit like mad, pressure go come choke institutions, Vatican go dey hear, open up, return am, or digitalize these treasures, make the world see. No hide and seek again. Now here's a twist that very few people know. In 2019, during a controlled digitization efforts, Vatican librarians quietly released a catalog notes about a Congo Kingdom letter dated 1514, written in Portuguese, signed by King Afonso I of Congo, and directly addressed to the Pope. In that letter, He requested missionaries and described a structured, literate kingdom eager to engage with Christian Europe decades before colonial scramble or transatlantic slavery took roots. Na just one from thousands wey dem hide tey. Na like finding one pepper inside big bag of rice. How many still dey wey prove say Africa na big boy for global gist wey dem hide from us? No be only that o. Some maps dey show West Africa gold runs wey no dey any Oyinbo file, suggesting that Africa's own cartographers had detailed knowledge of resources and political boundaries centuries before colonial mapping. If this hidden African history dey sweet your belle, abeg press that like button. E go help other people find this coded gist. Drop your comments make we yarn. Which one shock you pass for all the gbasgbos wey we don open? Reason am. Entire generations were taught a version of history wey put Europe for center like kingpin, Africa dey corner dey wave hand. Omo, na scam syllabus. But what if the center had always been shared? And the only reason we didn't know is because someone locked the truth away. But what is coming next will take us deeper into secret correspondences, maps of African kingdoms you have never heard of, and one Vatican-held manuscript so politically sensitive, even today, it could ignite calls for reparations and restitution worldwide. We don't promise una say we go dig the most coded files wey dem still dey hide deep for Rome. Bro, e heavy no be small. Let's start with correspondences. Among the Latin, Portuguese, and Italian texts are letters from rulers of the Kingdom of Benin pleading for fairer trade terms centuries before Britain sacked Benin City. One manuscript even records a 17th century Benin envoy negotiating protection of bronze art and ceremonial masks. Today, these bronzes sit in European museums. The Vatican copy proved the kingdom actively tried to safeguard them. Another, a Coptic Arabic legal code sent from Nubian bishops to Rome, describing a blended African Christian legal tradition, evidence of a sophisticated jurisprudence ignored by colonial law books. And omo, map dey also. Na that one dey burst head. Hidden in a climate-controlled chamber is a parchment map from the mid-1400s tracing the gold belt from the Senegal River to Lake Chad, annotated in both Arabic and Latin. It plots fortified cities that European explorers didn't record until decades later. These are not legends. Na catalog entries where real scholars dey quote, like Vatican researcher Ambrogio Piazzoni, the Vatican Secret Archives. Then confirm say the archive no just be papal decrees, it's a global repository with Africa written into the very fibers. Why dem just vanish the documents from public eye? Na there we wan yarn now. When colonial competition exploded in the 19th century, powerful nations needed a single story. Africa as an empty stage awaiting European civilization. Vatican papers proved that African diplomacy, scholarship, and law would have complicated imperial claims. So they were catalogued quietly, restricted indefinitely, locked away under the label Privata. Private, not for consultation without papal clearance. That silence had consequences. It allowed false narratives to harden into the textbooks. It also denied African societies their documented voice. It gave colonial administrators a free hand to redraw maps, reshuffle power, rewrite memory like saying a Nollywood script. Come fast forward to today. African historians, backed by Digital Humanities Project, are demanding access. They argue that repatriation isn't only about objects, it's about knowledge. Imagine updated African school curricula built from authentic treaties, letters, and maps, boasting pride and factual confidence. Imagine diaspora communities reconnecting with ancestral literacy traditions once thought lost. In fact, countries like Ethiopia, Nigeria, and the Democratic Republic of Congo have already petitioned for copies. Vatican officials have begun slow digitization, but the pace is glacial, the politics sensitive. Yet, the pressure is growing. Here is the question we still don't have a public answer to. There's rumored to be a 16th century manuscript describing an alliance proposal between a Sahel empire and the papacy, a military trade pact that, if proven, could rewrite the geopolitics of early modern Africa. Them don't read them, them don't verify them, abi is still dey lie down for inside Vatican vaults. It's still unbroken. We don't know yet, but the fact that credible scholars whisper about it tells us something bigger. The archive is not just a library, it's a time capsule still waiting to burst open and rebalance history. Think of the generations who never knew their ancestors were diplomats, engineers, or theologians. Think of the missed opportunities to build mutual respect earlier to avoid centuries of arrogance and exploitation. And now, think of what happens if we start listening to the paper voices where they chew for Rome. If we let Africa tell its own story, backed by the very records that once hid it. History no dey waka straight. Na like board wey dem write, clean and write again. Remix dey steady. Vatican Secret Archives Africa files don show say na who hold power dey decide which line go stay bold. But knowledge has a way of resurfacing. Each manuscript wey dem find na seed, a chance to grow dignity, accuracy, and shared humanity. Our takeaway is simple but profound. The past is not finished, and neither is justice. If this gist open your eye like torch for night, abeg, smash that like button. E dey help other people dey find these hidden African stories. Drop a comment. Which Vatican document should be released first? Let's build a conversation that Vatican librarians can't ignore. No stop for here o. Your screen dey show our next investigation. How Britain secretly handed Nigeria to the north. A joint colonial legwork with modern politics. Trust me, you go wan see how the puzzle fits together.